I'm Alistair Humphreys. I'm an adventurer and an author. A couple of years ago I wrote a book called Microadventures, encouraging people to have short local adventures. The book's done really well, but I thought it was time now to step it up to the next level, to try and encourage people to have grand adventures. Grand Adventures asks why so many of us dream of having massive adventures, but so few of us actually do them. And the reality, of course, is that real life gets in the way. A lack of time, a lack of money, our relationships, our other commitments. And on top of all that, the fear of not knowing how to make adventures happen, not knowing what to do. And this book tries to address those sort of things. It begins with a simple premise. If you put aside £20 a week for a whole year, by the end of the year you'll have saved £1,000. And £1,000 is more than enough to go and have a massive adventure. Small little steps lead to something big, and that theme runs throughout the book. The first half then covers these things that stop us, asking questions. How can we find the time? What can we do about money, our relationships, our commitments? And then how can we hatch a plan? What do we want to do? What equipment do we need? And the second half of the book then goes on to the actual journeys itself, once you've decided you want to go do something cool and exciting. I interviewed about 100 really impressive, amazing people for this book. People who are all sorts of adventurers. There's men and women, young people, old people, disabled people, couples, families with young kids, people who've never done a trip before in their life, people who've been doing expeditions for decades. And I asked them questions about the types of journey they do and how they go about making it happen, how they went from being a beginner to doing this cool stuff. And the second half then tackles all sorts of different kinds of journey you might like to do, trying to work out which one's right for you and how you might go about it. So perhaps you want to go by bike, cycling around the world, perhaps even on a penny farthing, as one of the contributors have. Or you're more interested in travelling by foot, whether you want to walk the length of the Amazon or run around the world, as one lady did in her late 50s. Perhaps horseback journeys are more your style, and that might be travelling around Wales with a donkey or crossing all of Eurasia for 3 years on horseback. If you're more interested in water, then there's a chapter about that. Oceans, rivers, sailing oceans, rowing oceans, getting on homemade rafts and drifting down the River Amazon for a few months. Whatever your sort of adventure is, hopefully there's something that will cover it. Perhaps you're more interested in motorbikes. Would you like to drive across Europe on pizza delivery bikes, ride the length of Africa on motorbikes, or buy a black cab off eBay and drive the whole way around the world, with the meter running all the way, of course. If you're more interested in the cultural side of trips, you might want to hitchhiking around the world, or be one of the people in the book. He travelled the whole way around the world, every single country in the world, without flying. Perhaps there's a challenge like that for you. Or your challenges might be in the mountains, climbing Everest, climbing obscure peaks in Central Asia, climbing the mountains in Scotland. The mountains have many geysers. Or adventure for you might be more of a lifestyle choice. Perhaps you want to go live in a treehouse for several months, or you'd like to earn your living as an itinerant artist travelling around the world, painting along the way. And then finally at the book are some very inspiring but very expensive expeditions, polar journeys, North Pole, South Pole, and we've even got advice from an astronaut. Surely space, the grandest adventure of all. I hope there's something for everyone in this book to make you realise that you too can go have a grand adventure. Dream big, plan quick, go explore. That's the plan.